Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to use Swagger to auto-generate your API documentation. So first I'm going to start off by creating a .NET Core Web API. So I'm doing that now. Once it's created, we're going to want to configure the Swagger in the program CS file and also add the NuGet package for Swagger, which is a swashbuckle package. Accept those licenses. So this is what it will look like before you configure the Swagger. So I'm just running it now. You can go to the web API, but if you try to go to the Swagger endpoint, then it won't find anything. That's because it hasn't been configured yet, so I'll do that now. Go to the startup CS, and you want to add Swagger Gen. You'll also want to use Swagger and Swagger API, Swagger UI. That's literally all the configuration you need for the default Swagger UI, so I'm going to run it now and show you what I've got. So at the Swagger endpoint, if I refresh, I can see this API, which was automatically created for me when I created the Web API project. If I click to try it, then I can get that response. Now I'm going to add a few more APIs, endpoints. I want one to get by ID. When I'm getting by ID, I want to have the route there so that it will pick it up. And I want to return a single weather forecast because I want to get by ID. This is just an example. In real life you'd go and get that from the database, but I'm really just showing you the Swagger generation at this stage. So I want to add a put as well. And I want to return an action result on whether the request was successful or not. Once again, this is doing nothing, but if it were a real API endpoint, it'd be updating the weather forecast in the database. And now for my post endpoint. So when I post, I'll be creating my item, so I'll use the created action result, and you want to return a string which is a location which the user could send a GET request to get the added weather forecast in this case. Once I've created those endpoints, I'll run it and show you the Swagger UI generated for those new endpoints. Swagger UI also makes testing really easy because you don't need to do anything other than click a button, and it gives you the sample JSON. So you can see that I've got a 201 response code, that's the created one, and it says undocumented because I haven't documented that. I've got the location header returned, and that's with the location to call this get API here, so that you could get the resource that was created. So there's an example of me calling that. And then we have the put as well. They all return status 200. So you can add additional info to your Swagger UI. So you can add a bit of description on what your APIs are for, any licenses you have, contacts, terms of service, etc. So to do that, you just go back to where you've added the Swagger gen and supply it with some options. And fill out this information here. So you can see there's nothing here that has that information already. There's nowhere I can click to find it. But if I go back to Visual Studio and rerun, when it starts up again, I'll be able to see that extra information. So if I refresh my Swagger, I've now got all this extra information on my API. Now you saw earlier that my post had a undocumented status code. So if I wanted to add documentation for that status code, I can do that through adding XML comments. So if I copy and paste this this XML here, and add it to my post, and update with the relevant information, then when I open my Swagger UI, I should see some extra information such as a sample request, a description of what my API does, and it will document that it returns 201 status code when the item is created, with the location of the item in the location header. So I want a weather forecast object, so I'm just going to grab one from a sample one from my Swagger API. It can be anyone, it's just an example of what a weather forecast object would look like. Note the triple slashes here, and that's I think that denotes that it should be picked up by the Swagger gen. So if I run that again, I should see this extra information against the Swagger UI. So I can't see the extra information. There's no mention of the 201 status code, but I'll leave that there for now and see if I can figure out another way to document what I want to, which is the 201 status code. So if I go back to the Microsoft documentation, not really noticing anything obvious at this stage. But you can use data annotations to give extra information to the Swagger API documentation generation. One of those is producer's response type. So if I copy and paste that producer's response type attribute, then we should see that against the API in the documentation. So remove that for now. So now that I've added that attribute, you can see that the 201 status code is documented, and if I run the API request, then I can see that its response is not saying undocumented anymore. So now I've looked at a bit further at how to use the XML comments, and what you need to do is you need to edit the project file and add this property group. Then we'll want to add our XML back in. Cool, there it is. And run the code. If I refresh my Swagger UI, I'm not seeing that documentation that I wanted for status code 201 and the sample JSON. So I'm just going to go check the documentation again. And I can see that I need to add this extra configuration for when I set up my Swagger options. So I'm going to do that now. So you need to include the XML comments, which I'd left out previously. So now that I've got that, if I go and update my startup.cs file and the options, then when I run again, I should be able to see the extra documentation I've added. So when I refresh the Swagger UI, I can see a description about my post API, some sample requests, and if I go down a bit further I can see my created 201 status. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content.